Good morning, all. A warm welcome to this new edition of IEF Samvaad. I'm Shelja from Team Lease, moderating today's session. As you know, IEF India Employer Forum is a dedicated community platform discussing and documenting about employment, employability, and ease of doing business. And in this endeavor, Team Lease is a knowledge partner providing expertise, insights, and research findings, and supporting all the events of IEF in terms of webinar and research findings. Before we get started on today's topic, let's set the context. Manufacturing has always been a backbone and a strong pillar of Indian economy. It contributes to 70% of our GDP and provides 20 million jobs. As we all know, the government has been pushing through PLI schemes and supporting various sectors like energy, mobility, storage, and electronics. At the same time, we also see there is a lot of investment from global companies, and also at the same time, our India has been contributing towards technology innovation. Are we prepared for this particular transformation? If yes, how much are we prepared? Can we hire the right people, motivate them towards the productivity, ensure attrition is reduced, and also shift ourselves to this transformation? Shekhar, we are very happy to have you today. And this new edition called Automation to Green Jobs, Rethinking People's Strategy. At the same time, before we get started on the topic, we request you to take us through your journey. I mean, you have a fantastic career journey, so we'd like to hear more from you.
Okay, thanks, Sharja, for and IEF for having me here. Um, Career, yes, I started with Taj Group of Hotels a long time ago, right? Into service quality and HR and a few other things that I was doing. Then had a stint in the consulting field with change management consulting, PMS designing, competence mapping, assessment centers, and things like that. And we've done a lot of what is called large scale interactive processes as well on strategic change management. From there, I moved to Amara, and whatever I was doing earlier, I'm doing here as well as a lot of things with respect to in growing the business, uh, be it performance management, being it scaling up, scaling down, or going expanding horizontally, all different things that we've been doing here. And this is my longest stint. This is my 20th year in the Amara Group. So, so we've gone through a lot of restructuring. We've gone through new businesses. We've started new businesses. We've gone through ups and downs. We've seen the recession. We've seen the markets going down, new products coming up. All that we've seen, and all those experiences have been extremely fruitful, and we have learned a hell of a lot from all those experiences. And that's where I am right now. I'm handling the organization development for the group and the talent acquisition for the group. And I've also worked with a few business HR leaders in managing their businesses.
That's nice to know. I mean, 2 decades of experience is a big thing. So I think we'll have a very good session today. So moving on to today's session, Shekhar, coming to our first question, we just want to understand, the way the organization today is marching towards the green jobs. It's important for us to, because your sector actually is very dependent on skilled and semi-skilled jobs, right? And with this new changes happening in the market, how do you go about hiring the right talent?
See, hiring the right talent has always been challenging. Right now, what is right talent? Now, that definition itself keep changing, right?
Yeah.
And we know our education systems, we know our schooling and colleges. They they actually create few products of and which may or may not be directly usable in industries, right? Any industry has got that challenge. Therefore, partnering with them becomes the key.
Correct.
One is partnering with those institutions directly before somebody join us, or budget and plan certain time period for acclimatizing those people who come out of those institutions to suit our way of working.
Correct.
So that these two primarily are going to be required. So what we do is like we have our own skill development centers, right? We call it Amara the Skill Development Center, where we take people for our shop floor. We take people who are 10 standard pass, 11 standard, 12 standard fail even, and those kind of people. We take them, we put them through a structured training for 18 months. And so both classroom training as well as on the job training. We provide stipend. It's a stipended program. Now we provide them technical skills as well as soft skills. In Amar Raja, our cultural training is an extremely important part of all training. So therefore, we have extensive training on getting them to understand the Amar Raja way and train them accordingly. So when they, after 18 months, when they get into our shop floor, they are completely ready. So this is a, see, 18 months is not a short period; it's a long period, but still
True.
that is required for them to also build a long-lasting career within Amar Raja. So
Hmm.
that's something which we do for the shop floor. Then we also do a similar thing for the other trainees, say be diploma graduates or undergraduates, the professionals, the BE, BTechs, and MBAs. We have different programs. We call them as Nava Pratibha programs, which is new talent. When we take them in, we have a 1 year training period. So in that 1 year training period, all or many companies have this training. Say 1 year traineeship is not something which is uncommon. But what is different with us is in that 1 year training period, we train them on different things. We give them exposure to all company, all there are different companies in the group, so therefore they get to understand different businesses. And we also provide focused functional training. For example, HR trainees, when we take, we run a 5 months HR training program for those HR people. HR
Hmm.
students that we recruit, because
Got it.
the syllabus may not be exactly like what we expect. So therefore, instead of blaming the colleges for not creating ready-made products,
You
we've taken on
customize
that.
it.
Yes, we have taken on that mantle to provide them the knowledge and skills that are required. For example, not many colleges will teach them on technology in HR, right? The payroll processes, the employee engagement. When we teach them employee engagement, there is a lot of context to it. There's a lot of authenticity to it. There's a lot of things that we do. They get to learn.
Yeah.
So they learn all the HR practices on in a focused manner. Similarly, a supply chain person, supply chain trainee, they go through a training program. Finance, they go through their own training program. So that way, we are ensuring that these people who come out, freshers who we recruit, are all ready, and they are all productive at the end of their training period. So
Fantastic.
how this is helping us? This is helping us to reduce the attrition, because they, when they come, they have an environment where they feel welcomed. They are not left in the big ocean of the corporate world. So they have mentorship. They have people to guide them. They also get the knowledge that are required for the industry that are relevant. So
Yeah.
therefore, they stay with us, and they stay for longer years. That's how it is helping us.
Oh, so nice to know that one, you have a foundation of 18 months for these people. Then for each and every functions, you have a customized training, which is a
Correct.
very great thing to know. I mean, I really wish all organizations adopt this. Well, after hiring, my next question is on the productivity part. Well, portion of the answer you have already told us that how do you go about the hiring, but how do you actually maintain that productivity? Because today's demand is more towards digital adoption, automation, sustainability. So these are not just jargons, but a reality for us today. So from that perspective, to continuous maintenance of productivity becomes one of the key challenge to most organizations. So how do you go about maintaining the productivity at your end, ensuring there is employee engagement as well?
I would say we have to look at one step back and say, as an organization, we need to remain competitive to be in the market. So there is the productivity is not an option, and we have to be productive. There's no running away from that. So
Yeah.
therefore, what do we? I mean, when we look at what all things that we need to do to remain competitive in the market, then
Yes.
from there is where we derive what all we need to do internally, right? It could be in improving the systems and increasing the automation, infusing say AI, or infusing IoT technologies, infusing data analytics, all that are required for us to remain competitive. So
Correct.
so that's where we start from. And one of the critical pieces there is skilling and upskilling of people. So that's
Mm.
something which we need to keep doing it. So we have a yearly strategy process, right? We look at the environment, how it has changed. We call it as the environment analysis. There are frameworks, right? There are different frameworks that you can use to use that. So based
Correct.
on those framework, we look at what are technologies that are relevant, or what changes are happening in the market, and therefore what should we do to keep the people updated. So we
Correct.
and we derive skilling, upskilling, and reskilling programs from there, and we do that.
Ensure
Now
the
that is one
productivity
of
is
the
there.
things which keep that will keep our people engaged, right?
Yes.
And because they need not feel that they go irrelevant in the market if they stay
Correct.
in the company. Now that's a
Right.
key thing, right? And if especially in a company like us where we have people who have spent long years, who have
Yeah.
built their careers here, uh, you are talking about my 20 years, but there are people who have crossed 35 years. So 20
That's
years is
nice.
no big deal right here. So
Right.
therefore, if we have to keep them engaged in an organization for 20 years, 15 years, 30 years, we have to also keep them relevant. They need to feel that, hey, I'm getting updated in comparison with my peers and my friends outside. I have access to cutting edge technology. I have access to new training. I have access to growth. I am growing in the in my social ladder. I am growing in my career, right? And start thinking that, hey, am I becoming outdated? Am I becoming saturated? Am I not getting access to latest technologies? When I start thinking like that, that's when I think, okay, I may not get it in this company, therefore should I look out. Now
Mm.
what we are addressing is that psychological as a space, and that is what we use to create that bonding with the organization. So we think for the people so that they stay relevant, and they are enthused about being here. By doing all this, they are productive, right?
Correct.
Because they have the skills, they have the latest skills, technology, they are welcoming to new processes, and which makes them productive, which in turn makes the organization productive. So that's what we are doing in terms of skilling and engaging people, and also ensuring productivity.
That's a perfect answer, Shekhar, because you have a perfect recipe to improve productivity. It is not just about doing an initial level of training, creating that first level bond. Post that, also keeping them relevant to the upgraded technologies, and also making them feel that you're as equally important to the organization, to the organization's growth, and your growth and organization growth are totally interlinked. So
Yes,
keeping
correct.
that kind of motivation is what creates productivity. I think that's really very nice.
Right.
Now, I've heard from you how the attrition is controlled at your organization. That's pretty much my next question is, like,
Okay.
early attrition has been in rampant. It's a universal challenge that we all have in
Yes.
almost every sector. It has been there. Now, from your perspective, how do you feel that to curb this attrition, keep them a little more engaged, what organization should really integrate into the training piece or engaging piece to ensure that they live a little longer and bring down this early attrition to, to minimal as possible?
Here, I would think yes. This is a challenge for everybody. Might think maybe it may look little old school, but that has worked for us. Um,
Great.
if the managers and the organization do not expect people to be 100% productive from day one. If they do not expect them to churn out results and output from day one, then the thinking will change.
Correct.
Uh, and our first priority in our organization is to get that person culturally aligned with our organization, because
Right.
cultural alignment is bigger than everything else. And
True.
productivity, if somebody is culturally fully aligned with us, productivity, the required productivity will come as a byproduct.
Correct.
If the focus is only on productivity without looking at or spending enough time and effort in cultural alignment, it's not going to last long.
Yeah.
So therefore, that becomes a central piece. That becomes the central piece of our alignment of people. Say in the programs that I spoke about, we have a capsule called Embrace. Right, it's a 21-day program, right, and sometimes it's 15 days program depending on the level, right. In that, the initially what we take them is we actually take them to all the shop floors. We take them to various our corporate citizenship CSR sites. We get our leaders to interact with them. The topmost leaders interact with the junior most people. Say like a diploma trainee coming in, we take them, we hire all of them together. They all join in one day of the particular year, and that inaugural day for their career, we get our say CSOs, CEOs, and CXOs to come and talk to them directly. There is an
Great.
open house, so where they ask questions, these people can ask a question. The CXO, they may not get to interact with the CXO for the next 7 8 years, how in the normal course of things. However, because they have already interacted with them or had an opportunity to interact with them, there is an immediate connect that happens between the top level leaders and the junior most people. Now this is all part of the culture. Now
Correct.
this we invest heavily in the first 15 days, 20 days for doing various things, various activities like this. So they get culturally aligned to our
Right.
organization. Secondly, we are also doing certain hard things like um, when people at the shop floor level, when they come in, we usually we or all the companies run 3 shifts, right. But when these kids come in the beginning, we don't allocate them to night shift for say 2 3 months, because
Fantastic.
night shift is going to be is something which they haven't experienced, because the transition that they
Right.
are making from being a student to being a factory worker is a big transition that they are making. And if we are going to put them in a night shift in the first 2 3 months, it's going to be very difficult for them to adjust. So we do not
Right.
do that. So they don't take up very hard task in the beginning. So it gradually it gets increased, right. These are all, there are structured systems, and scheduling work schedules are all available, so that a new person coming in for the next 3 months, that person, you won't see that person's availability for the night shift, so only the others will come. So therefore, these are some of the hard things that we use to drive alignment systematically, as well as the training that we do culturally. So this is helping us to create that psychological bond with the organization,
Got
and
it.
this is happening in the first 3 months.
Yeah.
And infant mortality happens in the first 3 months, right? If
Correct.
somebody is not staying in the company for 3 months, then I mean, they are not there. See, and what we have typically seen is people have stayed 3 months, they stay along till the completion of the training. A
Correct.
completion of training, they stay. They are likely to be there with us for at least 5 10 years. So that's what we have seen. We also have infant mortality. It's not that we have zero, right? But then our numbers are much better than what our industry comparison marks. If industry is at 50 60, we may be at 20 25. So
Fantastic. So, what I understand from you is that you mentally secure people, make them
yeah,
feel accustomed to the new environment, first winning their hearts becomes more important for you
Yes,
than other things. So that's where the infant mortality can be curbed or controlled, as you say.
absolutely.
Now,
Yes.
I mean,
One more aspect, one small aspect
yeah.
that may be also of interest. In the training center, in the skill development center, when we recruit people, first they enroll people to the center. We make it mandatory for their parents to come along, and we
Oh.
have a counseling session with the parent. See, like the way a kid goes to kindergarten, for example, here it's almost like that. A career, a work life, this is their first step. So their parents also must be must have some idea of what their kid is going to go through, right? It's not that the kid will have a jolly good time alone here. It's going to be hard work, learning new things, studying and stuff like that. However, they need to understand that this is a safe place to work, safe place to be in, and they get taken care, they get taken care of with respect to hostel facility, food, and they get physical, they get entertainment and things like that. So the parents must feel confident to leave their children with us, right? And especially when our factories are all in remote locations, in rural locations, there are many employees who come, say 50-60% of people who come into our skill development centers are all first time employees from their family. So their
Mm,
parents may be in agriculture, their parents may be in some other work, they may or may not be an employee in another organization. So therefore they wouldn't know what it entails to be an employee. So
mm.
therefore this counseling helps. So
Fantastic.
what happens is, even if this person, if this boy or a girl, 3 months down the line say that I don't like this company, I don't like to like this, when they go and talk to their
Yeah,
parents' first response will be, no, 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 don't tell me all this. We know about your company. You stay there. I did, kind of first level of counseling of sending them back to the company happens from the parents.
fantastic.
Some of these helps a lot, and these things are time consuming. This may
Yeah.
look like mundane work, and
Yes.
but these are important thing, and we invest time on these.
No, this is what adds value. I mean, I've read so many techniques of curving attrition, but this though it was the next level. And I really appreciate for bringing in maybe a traditional thought, but very effective one, because you're not just securing, the resource, but also the gaining the confidence of the family also together. That's really amazing to see. Well, I think we're coming to the last question, Shekhar.
Yeah.
The government has been pushing towards through the PLI scheme, a lot of energy sector, particularly kind of sector you are in. It has created a lot of green jobs, what we call
Yes.
today, right? And it's a new shift that we all are going through, right? So, how do you think an organization can go through this smooth transition? Is it possible? And what organizations are actually taking care to get into this new thing, which was not there before? But we hear about carbon credits, we hear about green jobs. So, how do you think the organization are preparing themselves to face this?
All right. I would think that we should approach it inside out rather than outside in. Because say
Yeah,
inside out, when I say I want my company to live for 200 years, which means I need this company to sustain for 200 years. Now, if I have to sustain, I need to be relevant with respect to employees, with respect to government, with respect to customers, with respect to people, and the society. If I actually get into conflict with any of these people, I cannot exist. So
correct.
therefore, sustainability is not something is an esoteric outside concept that is come into force now. That
Yeah,
is the very core of existence of organization. So now
right.
we approach it from this angle, it becomes that much easy. These
Correct.
carbon credits are the other aspects that we need to follow now. Does not look like a big thing which somebody else is forcing upon us. Right
Right.
now, if I have to sustain in a place for 100 years, I shouldn't pollute my environment around me. If my factory, if my say the 5 kilometers radius, 10 kilometers or 15 kilometers radius of my factory, if factory is clean, I am the one who is going to get benefited.
Correct.
So and if because of that, if the people around me, if the society around my factory are happy, who is going to be benefited? The factory is going to be the benefited majorly, right?
True.
So that's why I thought, I am saying that it should be seen inside out, right? So when we look at it like this, all employees and systems, they it comes naturally for them, right? And they
Hmm.
do not, the resistance to adopting some of these new techniques which are required, uh, is will be much lesser, rather than if we go and say, hey, we have signed UNCG, right? We are a UNGC signatory, right? We are a BRSR reporting company. We have integrated annual reports. Now, if we go back to the people and say that, hey, because we have become a signatory from today, we need to follow these new systems, then it becomes
Hmm.
difficult for us to force this and get them to accept this new technology. It will look like an additional work that they have to do,
True.
right? So that is why it has to be built in the culture itself. For example,
Got it.
one of our values is responsibility. Now, the way we have defined it is about taking ownership for our own thoughts and actions,
Correct.
for in the best interest of environment, society, customers, suppliers, vendors, employees, and all stakeholders. That is how we have defined it. So we have to take ownership for our own action in the best interest of all this. That is what is responsibility for us. So
Right.
therefore, building sustainability and these new reporting requirements into that responsibility is not, it was not very difficult for us.
Fantastic. I
So
mean,
it comes
that's
from
an that's an amazing answer. So what you're saying is that first of all, sustainability should be the fundamentals of that particular company, even before somebody imposes on them. And
correct.
if we take care of the society and the climate, indirectly it will automatically boost your company's growth. So
Yes,
adapt to this at the early stage than doing it later. So that's what you suggest. But amazing. I mean, I though enjoyed the complete program, or rather the session, and great thanks to you, Mr. Shekhar, to have joined us today, sharing your thoughts. I was completely immersed into this discussion. It was wonderful meeting you, or rather knowing you very well through this session.
absolutely. It's my pleasure to share whatever little things that we are doing. We welcome you to come to our plant and see all this in action.